gymnosperms. One more group of plants that you have studied, that is angiosperms. These are most advanced type of plants which are covering the entire world nowadays. They are dominant plants on this earth nowadays, right? So they are angiosperms. Angiosperms. So angion means cover. Sperma means seed. Here the meaning of this word is seeds are uncovered with fruit wall. Such kinds of plants which bear seeds with the fruit wall, they are called as angiosperm. The plants what you see around yours, all plants are being angiosperms, right? So these plants which are fruiting plants means they bear fruits. Inside the fruits, what are seeds? Seeds are seen. Such kinds of plants which bear seeds with a fruit wall, they are commonly known as what? Angiosperms. These are the dominant plants on this earth. These are the dominant plants on this earth. Right? In Jurassic period, gymnosperms were dominant. In the same way, nowadays, angiosperms are dominant on this earth. Right? So, these angiosperms are all flower bearing plants. The plants which bear flowers are the best examples for angiosperms. Right? All the flowering plants are called as angiosperms, right? These angiosperms, they have been classified into two groups. So based on their lifetime or life cycle, that is annuals, biennials, perennials, like this. They have been classified into three groups: annuals and biennials and perennials. So annuals are the plants which complete their life cycle within 1 year, and such kind of plants are called as annuals. Jawar is the best example for this one, right? Those plants which exist for 1 year, they are said to be as annuals. And biennials are completing their life cycle within 2 years. 1 year, the first year they grow, and on the next year their flowers mature, they flower, they produce seeds, and ultimately they complete their life cycle. Such kinds of plants are called as biennials. And perennials are those group of plants which bear flower and seeds, right? Every year they can live for many years. Such kinds of plants are said to be as perennials, right? So annuals, biennials as well as perennials are the three groups of plants that we classify the angiosperms, right? Yes, based on the habitat, these plants are of different groups. One is hydrophytes, halophytes, Third one is mesophytes. Fourth one is epiphytes. Fifth one is xerophytes. Right? So like this, there are of different groups of plants that we come across in angiosperms. Hydrophytes means, here hydro means water, phyta means plant. The plants which are growing in water are called as hydrophytes. Right? Halophytes. Haline means salinity of water is more. So these are the group of plants which are growing in saline water or saline condition. Right? They are called as halophytes. And mesophytes. Meso, moderate. These are the plants, group of plants which grow in moderate conditions. Such kinds of plants are called as mesophytes. And epiphytes. Epi means on, upper part. Phyta means plant. These are the group of plants which grow on other plants are called as epiphytes. And xerophytes. The name itself suggests that these are the plants which are growing in xerophytic condition where the unfavorable conditions like scarcity of water, high temperature is there. So means these are commonly desertic plants. The plants which are usually growing in arid conditions, they are called as xerophytes. Such kinds of plants that we come across, these are all groups of plants which are angiosperms. Angiosperms. And so the main important feature of these plants is reproduction. The special characteristic feature of these plants is flower. These are all group of plants which bear flowers. Already have mentioned over here, right? Flower bearing plants these are. So the special characteristic feature of these plants is flower then, right? So flower is the site of reproduction. This is site of reproduction, where the reproduction take place, right? And this flower, so it has different parts. When we see one flower, that moment you will come across a simple diagram of the flower here. So this is thalamus. And this is sepal, and this is petal, right? This is ovary, this is style, this is stigma, and these are nothing but stem. Okay, these are the major parts of the flower that we come across here. So it has four major parts. In flower, there are four major parts that we come across. One is calyx, second one is corolla, and third one is androecium, and fourth one is gynoecium. Right? This is also called as pistil. Okay? So these are the four major parts of the flower that we come across over here. Calyx, what it includes? You know, in flower at the base there are some green and leafy structures that we come across, and those are called as what? Sepals. These sepals all together, usually they are 5 in number, more than 5 in number, right? So like that, sepals all together form what? Calyx. Means here sepals together form calyx. In the same way, corolla, the colored petals, there may be 5 petals, more than 5 petals. Petals will be there, they are colored in nature. And those colored petals together form what? Corolla. Means here petals together form corolla. Right? And the next one is androecium. This is the male reproductive structure. Right? Androecium. Andro means it is indicating male. Androecium, what this androecium consisting of? In hibiscus, you know, there are some stamens are present over here, and all these stamens together form androecium. Means stamens together form androecium. And the last part is female reproductive structure, gynoecium or pistil. And this pistil usually includes the basal bulbous part of the flower. This is ovary. It includes ovary, and the tubular structure that connects the stigma as well as ovary is called as the style, and ultimately the stigma. Right? Ovary, style, stigma. These three together form pistil or gynoecium. This is female reproductive part. This is male reproductive part. Corolla or petals together form corolla. Sepals together form calyx. These are the four major parts of flower. Yes. Next important character in this plants is reproduction. How reproduction take place? Sexual type of reproduction that take place in angiosperms. This is the thing I am going to explain. Right? So sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. Already we know. So there are four major parts. They are commonly known as whorls of the flower. There are four whorls of the flower. Among them, calyx as well as corolla. Calyx and corolla. These two do not take part in reproduction. Hence, these two whorls of the flower are called as accessory whorls or extra whorls. Extra whorls of the flower. Androecium as well as gynoecium are the male and female reproductive structures. These two take part in a sexual type of reproduction. Hence, these are called as essential whorls of the flower. So, when we see androecium as well as gynoecium structure, there how the reproduction occurs will come to know. So, first one, androecium. Whenever you see the flower, that moment the yellowish parts, small structures, so globular structures that you come across here, and those small structures when you take out, that moment you will find this kind of structure in hibiscus. Right? This kind of structure in hibiscus. This is nothing but one stamen it is. Stamen. This stamen has two parts. One is anther and second one is filament. Anther as well as filament are the two structures that we come across inside stamen. In anther part, we will come across, there is a sac-like structure called as pollen sac. Pollen sac. And inside the pollen sac, you will come across a yellowish powdery mass of the substance, and those are nothing but pollen grains. Pollen grains. Right? And these pollen grains mainly consisting of male gametes. Male gamete. Male gamete is present inside the pollen grains. Pollen grains are present inside the pollen sac, and the pollen sac is present inside the anther. Right? So this is the fact what you should know. Now male gamete, where it is located, you came to know. And ultimately, next one, when we consider the female part, that is gynosium, at moment we will find this kind of structure. This part itself is stigma, and this part is style, and this is ovary. What happens? So this ovary consisting of the female gamete, right? Ovule is present. Inside the ovule, there you find egg cell is present. This egg cell is female gamete. How the arrangement of these ovules inside the ovary, everything will study in detailed way in a PUC 1. So simply I am locating here female gamete as well as male gamete, how the fusion of these two gametes that take place. This is the thing what I am going to explain now, right? So whenever these stamens mature, so the anther lobe it ruptures. Anther lobe, when it ruptures, that moment all the pollen grains they come out. When they come out in this flower you are observing here, pollen grains that come out. When they come out, they fall on the stigmatic surface. They fall on the stigmatic surface. See here, these are pollen grains which fall on the surface of stigma. When they fall on the surface of stigma, they produce a tube, and that tube is called as pollen tube. That pollen tube start to run across the length of this narrow tubular structure style, and ultimately the tube reaches ovule. And that tube mainly consisting of male gametes. I have already explained, pollen grains contain male gametes. Through the pollen tube, male gametes come towards the ovary, and ultimately they enter, means the tube enters inside the ovule, and it helps the male gametes to fuse with the female gamete. Or fusion of male and female gametes take place inside the ovary, right? After the fusion of male and female gametes, take place, that moment this ovule becomes seed. This ovule becomes seed, then entire ovary becomes fruit. Right? Entire ovary becomes fruit, inside ovule becomes seed. Right? Seed is enclosed with what now? Fruit. The plants which bear, right, seeds which are enclosed with fruit called as angiosperms. Right? So this is how the sexual type of reproduction that take place inside the flower, right, in angiosperms. And I have proved why these are called as angiosperms, right? So this is all about the characteristic feature of angiosperms, and ultimately in classification, as I had told you, so angiosperms are once again classified into monocotyledonous plants and dicotyledonous plants, monocots as well as dicots. ಏಕದಳ ಬೀಜ ಸಸ್ಯಗಳು, ದ್ವಿದಳ ಬೀಜ ಸಸ್ಯಗಳು ಅಂತ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅವುಗಳ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಓದಿದಿರಿ, ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಈಸಿಲಿ ನೀವು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ all about the biological classification that is done in case of kingdom Plantae. Next kingdom is kingdom Animalia, right? So those animals are also classified into two major groups. One is non-chordates, second one is chordates or vertebrates, invertebrates. Let us see in the next video.